Hello, and welcome to the second hour of Think Local First Radio here on Santa Cruz Voice. We like to do a couple of things every week, is to profile members of Think Local First, a great way to get your message about your business out into the community. And I'm here today. We got a crowd going on here. I've got my co-host, Tam, of course, is here.
Yes, I'm here.
He's here, and he's like, what do you call it, where you're multitasking?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of multitask through this segment just because you've got Janet and Cammie.
Yeah. And there he goes. He kind of stole our thunder there. For those that don't know, Think Local First is a marketing co-op organization here in Santa Cruz County. We were started in 2007. I am the new president of the Think Local First board, and in the studio with me is Janet Romanowski. So Janet, and then on the phone with me is Cammie Corbin, who you guys all know because she and I were co-hosting this show a year ago, probably today.
How could you not know?
Everybody knows Cammie. So,
That's
and
right.
Janet and Cammie are two of our other board members. So Janet, tell me about who you are and what's your involvement with the board.
Thank you, Susan. So my name is Janet Romanowski, and I am a longtime supporter of anything Santa Cruz. I came to Santa Cruz back in, it was 1977, so I think I'm now considered a local.
Yeah.
Came here as a UCSC banana slug and graduated with a degree in psychology and just never left.
Wow.
I went into a career in real estate, which I've been doing for about 42 years, and I'm just a strong supporter of local businesses. I got to say, I tip my hat to all of you that have a local business because it's not something I could have done, especially retail. My goodness.
Yes.
What you go through to provide us with the goods in this community and, the events, it's just, I'm eternally grateful.
So we'll get a little bit more into what your big role is here but tell me in terms of the board, you are
I serve as the secretary.
Secretary of the board, yes.
And I will be the marketing. You'll hear from me. You'll talk to me. You'll see me. I love marketing, and that's what I'm going to bring to the board.
She does. She is bringing that to the board. I mean, she's like an Instagram guru. So we're looking forward to getting her energy and talent into what we're doing as far as outreach. Now, Cammie, I've been with the board since like 2018 or 2017, right. I don't know. And you've been with the board for how long?
Oh, man, I'm trying to think. It was back when KSCO days. So 3-4 years, I guess.
Yeah, and you used to do the hosting of that show all by yourself.
Yes, I did. Yeah, similar to you now.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, people think, they get on the phone, they talk
right.
for an hour, or get on the radio and talk for an hour. But there's also the finding of the guests and the setting all of that up, and then the promotion of the show itself. That
there's the whole behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
And you were secretary. Now Janet's taking over that role, and you got promoted, and you're my right arm, which
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm the vice president of the Think Local First board, which is a nonprofit organization, and like you said, it's an organization that loves to support locally owned businesses, and I, everybody who's listening right now, I'm sure knows my family's been here 100 years, and when you start talking about supporting locally, it was funny. I was thinking about Janet, who's so great at like the Instagram guru person, was kind of trying to give me some tips the other day, and she goes, well, you can put in Chat GPT and put in these things. So I put in like my family name and the history of Santa Cruz, and like came up with all of this stuff and how it, they were the treadmills of all going on in the society and the government and working for the people and probably had their own businesses, and then today how it's still being carried on. And I look at that and I'm thinking, wow, 5 generations.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same thing, right? Like I'm carrying it on with a small business and, being of service for people. And it's awesome to think about that. if you just stop for a moment and think about it, and then think, like, what does that mean? And it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, Tam and I have been in Santa Cruz since 1989.
Right.
We started our business over the hill in what we call the dark side. But
But just before we go there, we did get married in Santa Cruz.
we did get
You
married.
came to the bright side.
Yeah.
In 1974.
1974. So we're
Oh my goodness, I was 14.
You were how
You
old?
were 4, you say?
14.
I was,
Oh,
yeah, I was 4. Right,
4. We are.
Well, I was 6.
Oh, this was a shotgun wedding. I don't know. It's the place that we got married, which was this beautiful glass chapel in Santa Cruz, is now a funeral parlor.
Does that say something or what?
It's like our marriage outlived where we got married. So,
I
it's
don't know if I would be bragging about that.
Yeah. Well,
But it was-
circle of life, baby. Circle of life.
yeah. So it's, we've been in Santa Cruz, like I said, since 1989, and getting involved with Think Local First was because I'm so passionate about small businesses here and wanting to help everybody succeed. Our business is a small business. It was a lot larger when we moved into Santa Cruz. But the recessions and all that stuff took its toll, but we've survived 45 years in our business this year, 50 years as a married couple this year, and we still like each other most of the time.
On some days.
For those that don't know TAM Communications, we actually produce the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk commercials and have done that since 1992, so that's 32 years there. Is that right?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That's about right.
So, Think Local First was originally founded by some of the great names in our community, owners of places like
Beckman's Bakery.
David Beckman.
Peter Beckman's
Yeah.
Staff of Life was part of the original owners. The sock shop, and really what they got together, people like even from Casey Coonerty at Bookshop Santa Cruz, Michael Olson at KSCO. Some of our very first members included Eric's Deli, which is still
Michelle Wizen.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Michelle Wizen at Metro Santa Cruz. So we had a good balance of retail and service business. And the idea was 2007, if we go back then, was we were in this recession and didn't know it. And big box stores were coming into Santa Cruz. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't as much of fighting with online sales like, Amazon at that time as it was making sure that the small, independent, locally owned businesses got taken care of. And how can a company, an organization really help that? And so the mission at that time was to promote and sustain the economic vitality of the Santa Cruz region. And, as we've gone, since my membership, or what attracted me to the board and the membership was being able to carry on that. I see that more, even though we're, a nonprofit, working on helping businesses survive and thrive. For me, it's a movement. It's like, how do we change thinking of people out there to make sure that they're thinking local first? Maybe it's not thinking local all the time. I can't say, there's some things we can't get local, and even if I went to one of the, big chains like Target or something, they may still not have it. But, but the idea is to put yourself into that frame of mind, like what local businesses can I support? Instead of, going and doing the easy thing, which is to, drive down to Costco, not that I don't go there sometimes for things, or to click on, something online and support Amazon.
When you talk about this, I think, one of the things that I've always strived to try to teach people, about and again, I'm going to go back to, I feel like we're the stewards of Santa Cruz, and that, we have to really make sure that we put this out there and tell people what it's about and how Santa Cruz started and how we can keep it going, right? But when you talk about thinking local first, you talk about, it doesn't have to be 100%. We're not the Think Local First police. We're not going to sit here and go and get down on you because you didn't do it all the time. I always tell people, if you strive to go for like a 50% of Think Local First, buying locally, that you're doing a great service to our community. But what I'm excited about in this movement that we're starting to like revamp and create is Janet's role in this, in that she's going to be doing such a marketing thing. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to let Janet talk more about that, is that she almost daily posts these wonderful, wonderful reels on Instagram of locally owned businesses, of about a 60-second reel. And this is going to be part of that movement, part of that marketing, part of that advantage that people are going to have as being a member, but also getting the word out. But Janet, maybe you could talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, gosh, I'm 65 years old. I never thought I'd be doing Instagram.
I know, it's amazing. I've actually been doing TikTok, so I'm
true confessions. Here we go. What I found, I started doing Instagram because I love the whole concept of photography, which I am just a photo bug. I'm a photo nerd, whatever you want to call it. That's me. And I found that Instagram was the perfect place for that to land. And it's interesting. Much of what I was doing to begin with was talking about houses because I sell real estate. So it would be things about houses, about remodeling, and maybe the local businesses were more geared toward what we do in real estate. But what happened, if you recall, we're at a year and a half ago or so, when we had our problems down in Capitola and we had the first floods in Capitola. You had a group of about 50 businesses down there that were, one day you're in business and the next day you don't have electricity, you've got water coming in your front door. It was a very traumatic time. And one of the things we were concerned about is the national news told everyone that Capitola had kind of washed off the map.
Right.
And so I know what I was experiencing when I went down and talked to businesses in that area saying, gosh, can I help promote you? And what everyone kept saying is, tell them we're open. Just tell them we're in business. Please come support us. So that sort of became the beginning of my really looking at how important it was to promote local businesses, because here you have 50 people down there. Capitola is not big box.
Right.
I mean, look at the businesses down there. Andy at Britannia Arms, Tatiana at Euphoria, people that, they bring a lot of people in the community. They're great supporters of the community. And so what I did was start going down there and filming these videos that we would put on Instagram. And it was interesting because the response was something where people were coming and shopping. Out of that, there were a lot of good positive things that came out, and I started to realize that I could probably take my business that up until that point, a lot of what I was promoting was a little bit more real estate related, but I could really transform it into something that would be supporting the businesses a little more. And I think about it, back at the beginning of this year when we had problems with the wharf. Again, it was Capitola. We had water coming, concerning the businesses. Again, they needed help. And I look at all of that. Capitola, through all of that, did not lose many businesses down in the village. A couple of them moved, but I think they were more intentional moves. And so I think that a part of that was advertising. And also I help a lot of the businesses with learning how to do Instagram, and so really helping people get up on their own feet and promote themselves. Instagram is free, and I think it's just an amazing place that we can put eyes and ears supporting our community.
Well, we're going to learn a little bit more from Janet and how she's going to take this talent that she has and these things that she's already been doing, and how that's going to translate to Think Local First after the break. So let's hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. So stay tuned.
Hi, folks. How many of you out there love to garden? Wouldn't it be nice to grow some of your own food? Or maybe a flower garden would brighten your day. Well, now you can have the pleasures of gardening without all that effort. You don't need a tractor. You don't need a rototiller. All you need is the Knox Garden Box, a heavily constructed, portable, elevated garden on legs that can virtually change the way you've gardened in the past. The Knox Garden Box can be set up anywhere. Yes, you can place it right on concrete. For those with bad backs, You've got critters and gophers, no space, or maybe no dirt. With the Knox Garden Box, the therapy of garden is now the prescription for good mental health. The way to find your fabulous Knox Garden Box is by logging on to knoxgardenbox.com. That's KNOX, gardenbox.com. Or by calling 831-461-9430.
The votes are in. Chef Ben here from Back Nine Grill and Bar at the Easy Off past Tempo exit. We are so proud of our food and our service and your votes. Back Nine has been voted Santa Cruz County's best burger and best happy hour in the good times. You've heard me talking about our house ground burgers. It's time for you to come and try one so you can taste the juicy difference. And what makes our happy hour the best? You have to come and experience it yourself. See you at the 9.
When you need help managing the legal affairs of your family, call on the Angel.
Hello, I am attorney Angel Hess, and I am ready to help. Whether you need a prenuptial agreement or divorce settlement, need child or spousal support, or are facing custody issues or visitation rights, I will help you. I have more than 7 years' experience as a family law attorney.
When you need help, call on the Angel. Attorney Angel L. Hess at santacruzlegal.net.
Hello, and welcome back to Santa Cruz Voice and Think Local First. We are here with Janet Romanowski and Cami Corbin. Let me get Cami up there too. And my co-host, Tam O'Connor-Fraser, who's in the middle of writing a book. Like I said, he's multitasking here. And we were talking about Think Local First. I do have a call. It sounds like it's on another subject, but let's take that. So John, tell me about thank you for calling Think Local First and Santa Cruz Voice. What's up? You there?
Hi.
Oh, that's not John. You are on the air.
Hi. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was hoping you'd take my call during the break. I have an unrelated question about something that was mentioned on the morning show.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to hold for the break?
Sure. I think I can figure that out. So go ahead and hold for the next break, and we'll go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we'll go back to Think Local First here. And before we went to break, Janet was talking about the power of Instagram, and as we look at marketing for Think Local First and the businesses, not just marketing of the organization, because that's just part of it, but really how we can succeed as a marketing co-op and really promote local businesses. Instagram's going to play a role. That's going to be one of the things. Social media marketing is going to be one of the things. So I wanted you to talk about that. But first I wanted you to talk about board development, because that's one of the things that, as we look at the future plans for Think Local First, which is what this program is about, is all the great things or great ideas we hope to implement in 2024 and beyond. One of the things is we want to get some great energy from the businesses out there into our board, into other places. So tell me about your board development hat. Yeah.
So thank you, Susan. So when you look at this organization and you go back and you think to 2007 when they started, you had what I imagine to be a larger board. We also had more members than we do right now. But then fast forward, we get up into the times of COVID, where all of a sudden some of the things that our Think Local First members would benefit from, getting together in person, networking with each other, sharing ideas, all of that kind of took a back seat when COVID started because we couldn't get together. And I think for a lot of people, talking to my business friends, a lot of people were just in survival mode.
Right.
They were not in the growth stage, and the idea about maybe having to pay some dues to belong to an organization that at that moment they really couldn't use, it became hard. And so we did lose membership during that time frame. I look at it right now that I think that we have healed in some respect. We've gotten beyond some of the challenges we had before. And now I think we're at that point where businesses, the idea about using something, whether it be social media, whether it be brown bag lunches, events where we get together in person. I think people are back at that place where they realize the value in doing that, and that is something that I really look at Think Local First being able to provide for members. When we talk about, for example, with Instagram, I love the idea of businesses getting out there and doing a 1 minute or minute and a half a spotlight about who you are, some unique things about your business. I love businesses being able to go in and on the website being able to say, hey, we have an event, we have a special thing going on. But all of that requires a lot of boots on the ground, a lot of person power, kind of getting things going. And so when we look at our board, when I came on the board, we had, I believe we have 5 board members right now. We have an affiliated board member, and then we have Andrea, who kind of keeps us all in order, our taskmaster who runs the organization.
Yes.
But you realize when we start taking on all these new ideas, creative things that we want to do for board members, for our business members, we're going to need some extra brains and bodies to help us out. And so one of the things that I love is in this community, I've always found one of my skills is networking. Knowing people, also knowing how to bring people together. How do you take them and put them in a position that will actually be beneficial for both the organization and something that they will really thrive in? I know for myself, there are parts of this organization, the paperwork part of it, that I might not be excited about, or the financial part that I'm not that excited to sit down and do the financials. But if it's marketing, if it's people, if it's talking, that's the part that I love. So I hope that anyone that's out there listening, if you are the type of person that you are committed to this community, you're committed to local businesses, you want to figure out how you can help out. It may be a retired business owner. It may be someone that's has a very successful business, but they realize they have all these talents that they can share with someone else to kind of be in that giving back mode. If there is anyone out there that feels that they would be someone that that our board might benefit from, I would love to talk to that person. Even if you don't want to be a board member, let's say you don't want to be as actively involved, we have a lot of committees. We have a lot of places where we can fit you in. We always need volunteers for events that we do. But what about something when we're talking about Instagram? For example, I want to be helping businesses with Instagram. But we have other needs that are out there where maybe one of you have a talent that you can share. Maybe it's a brown bag lunch and we want someone to talk about whatever, the pitfalls of business insurance. You know, insurance is one of those things that we kind of get, but we really don't know what we have.
Right.
You know, there might be someone that's in that type of position. So it really is, the organization itself is going to be, you know, it's a group of people that are committed to businesses, but it's also businesses helping businesses. I want to share the experience that I have in marketing or real estate skills that can benefit others. And I'm sure there are people out there listening that that have other skills that they can bring to the table to kind of give back.
So what I'm hearing... Go ahead, Cammie.
Yeah, I was going to interject. I think also what's important about what Janet's saying is that, you know, we also need people to help sponsor things and keep our costs down, which is helpful to help this networking events and things like that. But the more people that we get involved, you know, we all, let's call space here. We're all working, right? We all have our own businesses. We all put in our, you know, amount of time. And so all of this stuff that we do is on a volunteer basis. And if we can get more people to help us out, that helps us not to become so stretched so thinly. But on the other aspect, when Janet was talking about doing reels and things like that and having the businesses go out and do these things, I think it's also really important that we talk about how not only we support local businesses, but how other local businesses can support other local businesses, and that it's not a competition. Because a lot of times we may have a lot of restaurants, but, you know, maybe something comes up where, you know, this restaurant might be a better fit for this person, and you want to be able to refer them over to somebody that you know that's good, quality food, quality service. And they're going to do the same thing back with you, and that's what the networking is all about. So I really think that we need to also stress on that stigma of, I can't talk about my, you know, somebody else's business because I'm in the same thing. And, you know, we're here to support each other, really, and that's what it's about.
So, I mean, I think a couple of the themes that I hear that are important in this is marketing. That's an area that obviously is part of our mission. And then the other is education. And I know, Cammie, that you're kind of passionate about the brown bag lunches as something you want to really get involved in. Talk about that a little bit more.
Well, yeah, and I think, let's face it, when we talk about, businesses and having to pay for things, and there's the chambers, and there's the Think Local First, and there's your marketing, and there's this, that, and the other thing, and you're a small business, and a lot of this money is going out. Sometimes we have to look at where is our money going, and what is it doing for us, and then what can I do for it? So, the brown bag for me, and Andrea's going to help me with this also, is that, again, I feel like we have to be a steward of Santa Cruz County. I feel that we have to have the newer folks that are coming over to Santa Cruz to understand the history of Santa Cruz and what it's all about, and how can we keep this going, right? This movement going. And part of that is, what are we going to offer our members in that aspect? What else can we do for them to support them in their endeavor of having a small business or a business in Santa Cruz County? And so part of that is to have a brown bag session where people will come, the members, and these are pretty much members only. I mean, they can, as we're going to start out with, and they can bring a guest, but they would come for like an hour, and we would teach them certain implements that would go for their business. Like Janet just talked about, maybe the insurance. So we would bring somebody in and talk about the different business insurances. I know when I got an office space, I had to look at all of a sudden general liability insurance, right? Along with my, E&O or my errors and emissions insurance. So there's two separate insurances that I had to have, right? And, I think it's important that we look at, I do notary work. How important is that notary to your business? There's a lot of forms and documents that people get a lot of times. I just did one for a local business that needed it to have for a women-only business, right? And they applied to the state and the government. And so there's all these forms, and they don't know what to do. And they don't know if they need a notary, and what kind of notary do I need, and what kind of form is it? And so there's all these different things that we could do for people. The banking needs, what kind of bank account should I have? Should I really, really have? So there's just so much.
Right. I mean, I think that there, like you say, there's different topics. The insurance is one, legal is another, people trying to navigate that world. We're talking about doing marketing, helping marketing businesses, but there's also teaching people, like one of the things that, Janet talked about when she and I first met was the idea with collaboration on Instagram. And that was something I didn't know anything about. So, it's like, and I should have known about it because I do Instagram for a couple of clients out there. But the idea of going out and shooting a video, or if they're doing their own little Instagram video, is inviting Think Local First to collaborate with them so that it then appears on our feed as well as on the feed of the business that we're profiling. Or, I think you were talking about Capitola Chamber as somebody that you include and in collaboration so that they can that the chamber there, which is of course there to help promote their members, can actually do a better job of that by the collaboration requests that Janet makes on the videos that she's done.
Well, it's so funny. She's the one that taught me about that. And so, I haven't got it down yet. So here I am. I'm just collaborating with everybody. I'm going to collaborate with Joe Schmo. I'm going to collaborate with this person. It's like, they're like, who are you?
Cammie,
what do you collaborate with?
Cammie, don't you worry about it. We're going to do a brown bag lunch, and you're going to be sitting in the front row when we do that. But and let me touch on going back to this whole thing about, and I'll use collaboration in a different sense.
Okay.
Just talking about people working together. I have found that people want to. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this. People want to help other people. We want to figure out avenues to make our life easier and to improve the lives of others. And it's interesting, just going out when I first started becoming involved with Think Local First and really thinking in that avenue, how can we help business owners? How can we really collaborate people together? You just mentioned something about restaurants. Why wouldn't you take a person that's had the restaurant industry, the very successful Crow's Nest, Shadowbrook, even things like Penny Ice Creamery. How do you take a person like that to be able to share that knowledge in an open space so that someone else that's just coming into the restaurant business, maybe they're not doing ice cream like you are, maybe they're doing coffee. Can people like that collaborate together to help each other so that you save the headaches that you get with starting a business? You get out there and you have people that are, I'll call them mentors, but that doesn't have to be what it is, but just gaining knowledge from someone that's got 20 years more in the business than you do that can help save you some headaches. I think that can be just a wonderful opportunity. And let me share with you, and this is the joy of when you do volunteer work, like with this organization. I learned a lot of things about this community that I did not know about, and it's very interesting. I tapped, some of you may know Vance Landis. Vance Landis Carey, I think is her, I think that's Robert's last name.
Yeah, love her to death.
Yep, we all know Vance. She is the sunshine on the ocean.
Oh, wow. I don't know Vance. I'll have to get
But Vance is also involved with Cabrillo. The Cabrillo Foundation, great organization here in town, someone that I donate to. And I tapped into Vance and I said, Vance, for all these things we want to do, we may need one of those young, energetic, college, smart people to help us with some things. For example, with Instagram, with having Think Local First, getting some help. And I reached out to Vance, who then gave me to someone over at Cabrillo who talked about their internship program, which I didn't know about.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous program. If I'm correct, yes, I am correct on this. All right. What I'll share with you is with organizations, it's an opportunity. For example, if we take an intern into Think Local First and we hire them, what happens is Cabrillo has this money that's already been allocated, that's already been funded, where they can actually turn around and reimburse our costs for doing that up to 90% is what I heard. So when you're paying someone, we take a college student who's looking for a job, and let's say they like social media or they like whatever position we're putting them in, helping them with an event or something like that. We can turn around and be paying them higher than minimum wage and be able to be reimbursed for 90% of that. And that program is out there. Desha is the one who I actually spoke to, and she said, mention this to other businesses. There may be some businesses out there listening right now that realize they could use an intern. So I think we're going to, Susan, probably jump off the air for a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to go to break in just a couple of minutes. I wanted to let our caller, I'm going to end up, hanging up on you, and I'm sorry for that. But if you want to go on to SantaCruzVoice.com and send a message, this is because I'm not sure how to take your call and run my commercials at the same time. So if you can go to SantaCruzVoice.com, there is a form there, and you can ask your question about the morning show. I'm sure that if you were calling into the morning show, Bill Wolverton, the co-host there, would know exactly how to take your call off the air. But I am kind of dumb when it comes to that. So please send us an email. I'll make sure it either gets to Rosemary or Bill because I monitor that email box. And sorry about keeping you on hold for 16 minutes and 9 seconds. And I hope you call back or send us a note. This is Susan O'Connor Frazier from Think Local First and Santa Cruz Voice here. We are going to go to commercial, so I hope you will stay tuned, and we'll be back after these messages from our sponsors.
For ag and industrial real estate, call Chuck Allen. Chuck Allen is a lifelong resident of the Pajaro Valley, a friend of everybody, and has closed so many real estate transactions, the Wall Street Journal and Keller Williams both list him as one of the nation's top producers. So for ag and industrial real estate, call the top realtor, Chuck Allen, at chuckallenproperties.com. chuckallenproperties.com.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. So at Treehouse, we use it to build community. Hello, I'm Jenna from Treehouse Dispensary in SoCal. In addition to the finest cannabis products, Treehouse dispenses information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Though we aren't medical professionals, we do know how cannabis science can help you. Listen to Carly.
Thanks, Jenna. For For those who wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep again, Treehouse suggests a chocolate edible like Sleepy Time from local Santa Cruz brand Sensi Chew. Eat this THC CBN chocolate caramel and sleep the night away.
To learn how to use cannabis for the best effect, just ask us, your friends and neighbors at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel. You must be 21, but no appointment is necessary, and the information is free. And for those who already know what they want, Treehouse has an online ordering option at ourtreehouse.io and drive-through pickup. We look forward to welcoming you to our Treehouse community.
Hello, I'm Carolyn. 25 years ago, my husband Rudy and I opened Charlie Hong Kong with a commitment to serve healthy food grown in healthy soil. Today, the healthy food we serve comes from the sacred land in Pajaro Valley where Dick Peugeot and his Lakeside Organics grow the soil, and the soil grows the healthy plant that we serve to you. When you eat at Charlie Hong Kong, you eat healthy food, and it's delicious. Charlie Hong Kong, Santa Cruz.
Hello and welcome back to Think Local First here on Santa Cruz Voice, and we're in the studio today. Tam and I have welcomed Janet Romanowski to the studio.
Indeed.
And
a good one so far.
Yeah, and
lots of information you guys are putting out there.
Yeah, we have Cammie Corbett on the phone joining us to talk about Think Local First. So,
I was going to ask Cammie the mic.
Excuse me.
What the heck's going on here?
So let's talk a little bit more about, Janet talked about, we talked about marketing and education as being some of the reasons why you would want to join Think Local First. And, I think we look at the fact that we have two audiences. We need to educate the public in what the benefits are of shopping local. I know this community is passionate about supporting their local businesses, and you can see it when a business closes. Like last weekend was the last week of Cafe Sparrow in Aptos Village, and that was sad. I mean, we've spent anniversaries there, and I don't know what the story is totally about why they're gone, but you see when a business is getting ready to close, all the people that kind of mourn that local business going away, and so the appreciation is there. When Scotts Valley was getting ready to open the Target store, and simultaneously there were all of these locally owned businesses that were leaving and shutting down, and for some of them it was just time, and even though the public perception was that the Target had pushed them out of there, or that the landlord had pushed them out of there, that wasn't necessarily the whole story. But, there was lots of passion about these small businesses either going away or having to move. And we want to capture that passion and help and put it into these people's that know that supporting locally businesses is important to them, and now let's make sure that they are actually walking the walking the walk, talking the talk, whichever it is.
Right.
And so that.
Susan,
go ahead.
I was going to say, when you said that about Cafe Sparrow, for instance, an example, and it just dawned on me, I saw this post this morning from Native Santa Cruz about the two local markets that I, at the time was Grass Market and Santa Cruz Market on the west side that I grew up with. And I think when you start talking about these things and these places that go out, when you talk about the passion of the community, I think what it is those are memories for a lot of us. And it brings back some really great feelings for us. And it's that feeling of old Santa Cruz that we still want to try to keep, still knowing that there is going to be some change, right? But that doesn't mean that it has to change with the small local businesses, that they can still have those small local businesses. It can still be that place that you walk into and they call you by name. Everybody knows my name. And it's
it's Cheers bar.
It's there's a couple of those that I can go into a year later and they're still like, hey, Cammie, so I think that's what you're kind of seeing with this somewhat of a resistance, maybe, or the passion of the people when it comes out with things like that. And I think that's part of what Think Local First wants to try to preserve.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And Tammy, Cammie, excuse me, Tammy.
We got Tam here and Cammie over there, and they came together as Tammy.
You know, let me tell you, I'm still one of the old folks that reads the Santa Cruz Sentinel. I love to read the Sentinel. And I can't remember today, reading in the paper, the Live Oak Farmers Market remember, we all heard that was going to have to move, that they were closing down. And if you think about it, those are local businesses. All those farmers underneath that have, that count on that. And I know that there was a bit of some community, I'll call it pushback or input, whatever you call it. And Swenson was kind enough to back down and say, okay, I believe they're staying for another year is what I'm at. So I believe I read. So you think about that. That is our community. We're the community that gets behind the idea that when an idea is good, when a business is good, we support it. We stick behind them. And reading something like that, it's a testament to, keeping things that are local in our community and the importance of that.
And you see, I think that's what we see a lot is that people will step up, in this community. And, you have less of those chains over here that you might have in other, just over the hill on the dark side, that, is, where there's one chain after another in terms of restaurants or stores or whatever, where you don't really have as much of that over here. And when a business, is struggling, you see all of a sudden people come together to just try to do what they can.
And another good example is the CZU fire, right? I realize this isn't a local business, but it's local folks that were affected. And the one thing that I've always said is that no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on in Santa Cruz, when there's something like that happens, everybody pulls together because that's what we do.
Right.
Yep.
So, were you going to say something?
Boy, I was going to say something, and it just right by, Susan.
I have a lot of those. They're kind of flying over my head like Willy Wonka in little bits. Those moments.
What's your name, Tam?
This is Tammy, which is why he went by Tim in high school, which is his middle name because he didn't like to be called Tammy. So, I think that right now, if you were looking at all the reasons to join Think Local First, you can find them on the website. And I am a believer that one of the challenges we have is that people don't realize how many benefits there are. And I'm going to go over those benefits, but I think that Janet reached up and captured that thought she had.
You know what? The moment you said website, I knew exactly what it was.
Okay.
When I first started thinking about the idea of joining this board, one of the things that I did went to the website, and I found a really interesting fact, and I can't remember the year this happened, but what they did is to sort of look at the whole idea of how money circulates in our community.
Right.
So you have a community, and we talk about a business where they might get paid something for a purchase of something, but that money then supports the person who's there that needs a job. It supports that person spending money at another business. And what they did is they actually had 5 checks that were issued by banks, $100. So $500 started out in the community, and those checks were spent. And then what they did is they kept track of those checks for the next 30 days. Where did that go to? And it was interesting at the end of 30 days when they really looked at what that produced. It was approximately $8,000 that went out and recirculated in our community. So it's not just the $100 you spend when you make a decision you're going to the sock shop instead of Amazon. You're supporting people in our business, the people in our community, the people that own it, the people that work there, the product, also local products. Look at how many things are manufactured locally here that we could be supporting.
Yeah, I think that's it. That business, that money circulating in our community, so means that people that organizations and government and everybody else in the community are benefiting from it. So it's not like you're spending $1 and a Costco or online, that then most of it goes, to Washington. I think both Costco and Amazon are based in Washington, but it stays right here. And it supports the community. So that's the incentive for everybody out there that doesn't have time to, join the board or participate in a market or in some kind of a committee, is that you can still do your part, by looking and being present as you're thinking about where you're going to buy, and and knowing that whatever money you spend locally is going to turn over 8 times. And 80 times.
Right. And one other thing to take into consideration is, one of the arguments that I hear from people on somewhat regular basis, like, well, I want to shop locally, but it's more expensive. Well, it is a little more expensive because that shop owner has to deal with things on a smaller scale, right? So things are going to be more expensive. They don't get to buy things in bulk. But here's the other side to that coin, is if you were to participate into shopping more locally and doing more locally, businesses would thrive more, and they wouldn't be as expensive. And so that's the other side of the coin, the argument on that. So, when you like you were talking about going to Costco or you're going to Amazon, when you're doing that, why are you doing? Think first, right? That's our whole thing. Think first. Why?
And Cammie, let me interject something really interesting. If we go back to think when COVID started, and I'm going to give a shout out to Matt over at Hearts Fabric, best fabric store in town. And I will tell you, when COVID started and we all had to be sewing those masks, very quickly you could not get fabric and you could not get elastic, even by going to Amazon. And when they were shipping things from Amazon, it was 2, 3, 4 months, if you ever got the product. Matt had his suppliers that he was buying things from. He had local people working in his shop. I volunteered. I was there for 30 days. I was a fabric cutter or whatever you call it. But I was committed to that whole thing about we needed material. We needed masks. And here it was, one of our local businesses that stepped forward, and he was a key player in that. Right. So when we talk about, the whole thing about that we can always, of course, you could shop on Amazon. That may be true, but when we get put in a bind, the CZU fire, when people needed furniture, a couple of my stagers stepped forward and they were providing people with furniture that they weren't using anymore. So it's things like that that really make local shopping really come to the forefront.
Janet, when you say that, and another thing that's in my mind is during the CZU fire, when I was volunteering up at the Moose Lodge for the week and I was spending hours and hours and hours up there, who was it that brought the food in? Who was it that brought in the food? It wasn't
Amazon.
Exactly.
No, Bruno's Bar and Grill. It was all these other places that were, giving their hard-earned money, so to speak, or their hard-earned, profit and supplies to us so that we could feed the people that didn't have a house.
Right.
That's your local people stepping up for you, folks. That's not Amazon stepping up for you. That's not Costco stepping up for you. That's your local businesses who step up for you. And that is who we want to support, and that's who we want to work with. And now that I got chills on my body and I said my speech.
Well, we've got the new board has great plans for, really going out and doing, new marketing initiatives, new education initiatives so that we can, really support each other as small businesses or locally owned businesses here. But even today, without all those new initiatives, we have a weekly newsletter that you can promote your event that's coming up or your sales that are coming up. The website itself is wonderful in that area. You can post jobs, you can post videos, you can link articles that have been written about you. We have a social media presence that definitely is going to get built up more in the next year. That's one of the main initiatives, marketing initiatives for us. But it's there, and you can post or have Andrea post your event, or maybe you're celebrating an anniversary. That's something that's there and reaches. The newsletter itself reaches nearly 5,000 people. The Facebook and Instagram presence, you're thousands more. the this radio show. You know, I'm looking for guests that are Think Local First members that want to come on and spend an hour with me. That's kind of crazy when you think about an hour.
Susan, this was a lovely experience. I was some of you know, I love to talk, and I was a little nervous, and I told Susan, I don't know about this, but I got to tell you, sitting here and having such a gracious host helping me through this, for some of you business owners, pick up the phone and call Susan, because I got to tell you, this has been fabulous.
And it really, you know, it's just I love learning about new businesses and learning about what people are doing. And so when I hear the Back Nine commercial and then know that we've got a feature coming up next week about them, or we had the Treehouse Dispensary that was here a few months ago. We just reran.
A lot from that.
We reran their episode recently, but they gained a customer. You know, Treehouse is now where I'm going to pick up my cannabis products that I need.
Very good customer, I might add.
You know what? It's funny that you say that, Susan, because I went into my doctor because I have a sciatica going on really badly, and she says to me, well, have you tried the gummies at night? And I went, wait a minute, this is my doctor who's telling me to go get this stuff? So, and you played the commercial. It's like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to Treehouse Dispensary, and I'm going to get those gummies for the nighttime stuff that I need.
They're a locally owned business, and they gained a customer just by coming on my show. And you know, and hopefully they gain more by people that were listening to the show. You know, they're great. You know, not only a Think Local First member, but a great supporter of local artists in their shop. So. You know, it's a wonderful opportunity. You know, I really urge you to go to Think Local First. Let's see what is our URL? It's Think Local Santa Cruz, I think. ThinkLocalSantaCruz.org. You can learn about the history of Think Local First. Being a member, you get a page up there. You get a link to your website, which helps with your search engine optimization. So there's lots of benefits from being a member today. But
we have our new right now that just joined via that website, Lily Coy Create here in the SoCal. And I'm actually here today at Lily Coy, so come on down and see me. But we just got our what did we get? We got our emblem to put on the door, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the decal.
Yeah. So if you have a brick and mortar location, you can have your decal on your window, and people know you're a Think Local First member, which means that you are a locally owned and operated business. And so that's just another benefit. Shop the logo. We have it on our website since we don't really have a brick and mortar.
There's also a printed brochure pamphlet.
Yes.
I think they print 2,000 copies that go out, having your name in that. You know, wonderful thing to expose your business.
Yeah.
Additional promotions.
So go to thinklocalsantacruz.org and check us out. It's a very cost-effective way to get the amplification of your marketing message out to the community. I had meant to say call us at 831-265-5050, but we are off the air in less than a minute, so I can't take your calls. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you tune in next week for our feature in the 12 o'clock hour from Back Nine. And in the 1 o'clock hour, we are going to have Jill Trotterman. She is with Santa Cruz Holistic. She's also hopefully I was looking to try to find her. Santa Cruz Holistic Nutrition. She'll be our guest on our 1 o'clock hour. So thank you, Cammie, and thank you, Janet, for joining us. We're going to be kicked off the air in 15 seconds here. So, thanks so much for joining us today. This is Susan O'Connor-Fraser with Think Local First Radio on Santa Cruz Voice, and we will talk or hear next week. Thank you so much.
That was lovely.
If you can put headsets away, Tam,
and I want to give you this confidentiality agreement that I did sign. So they have another show that comes in real quickly.
Yeah.